Hello, everybody. How are you? Hi. Oh, my goodness, all the faces. Here we go. All right, let's just have a party, right? Because I see all my friends in the audience. Guys, first day of market, second day of market for most of you, right? Getting your sea legs. How many came to market with a plan? Know where you're going, what you're doing, who you're seeing, come see, come saw, but most of you seem to have a plan, right? Okay, I like that. I like a plan. I like when we know where we're going, what we're doing, what we have to do, how we're going to get there, what's going to happen when we get there. We talk about that on the show a lot, right? About having a system, a process, a plan. And of course, for coming to market, it's important. It's really important. Because what could happen when you're here at market? You could get running down, somebody says go here, and somebody says go here, and somebody brings you to a party, and the next thing you know, you've spent your time, energy, money here to be at market, and you maybe don't go home with any results. So just like coming to market, you need to run your business with a plan. How many here feels like they confidently have their business on a right track, on a good plan? Okay, so not as many hands, right? Why is that, right? It's hard. It's hard. It's hard to know where to start. It's hard to know what to do. How many of you listen to the podcast, are familiar with it? Oh, so it's my peeps. Okay, very exciting. So here's what I find with the podcast. You tell me if you experience this. I feel like every single week, somebody is giving us an awesome idea, and we just have to sit there and say, oh, yeah, I have to do that. And then we go running down that road, right? Do you feel like that? There's a ton of ideas, and you're never sure what to do, how to get there? So what do you do about that? I mean, what do you do about that? Do you just show up every week listening to the podcast and don't make any changes? Because that would hurt my heart. That would hurt my heart so badly if I thought that you're just taking it in and not taking the action, right? What do I tell you at the end of every show? Decide. Decide to be excellent, right? So here's the thing. I understand where you're coming from. Window works, 37 years. It's a long journey. Hopefully, being an entrepreneur is a long journey, okay? And the way you get to go along that long journey is by taking your actions along the way, taking your hard-earned lessons and your experiences and making adjustments, not just keep going the same direction. What does Einstein say? Doing the same thing every day, expecting a different result is insanity, right? How many people as entrepreneurs are doing that? They're just doing the same thing every day and thinking one day it's going to change. It doesn't. You have to change it, okay? So in Window Works, if you know me and you know the podcast well, you know that I am usually the one that clogs up the systems, right? I'm right brain. I'm creative. I'm a big thinker. I don't want to be down here in the weeds. I don't. I get it. How many people like the weeds? How many people love doing the business side of their business? Okay, so don't be shy. Go ahead. We got one. We've got two, 3, 4, 5. I mean, I'm talking love it. Like you would rather get in your books than pick carpet samples. That would be Natalie. Okay, we have another one, Michelle. Michelle would rather be in her books than pick carpet samples, okay? I mean, honest to God, it's a thing, hating the business side. It's a thing. I'm with you on it, okay? But this is why I think that I have to say, I'm so thrilled and honored that so many of you listen to the podcast every day. I truly am. I do not take it lightly. I do not underestimate it. I do not underestimate the movement that we are together creating and the journey that we're on. But I have to say, part of it, I believe, is because I actually do get it. If Window Works had been started by me alone, I would be in that seat there with you, going, oh, sweet Jesus, how do I straighten this ship out? I mean, I would, because I know that I would have spent 3, 4, 5, 6 years running in a circle like a hamster, doing the same thing over and over again and not getting out of my own way. Because the thing is that I can sell. I mean, you know, we all have something that we can stand in our space, like Sandra Funk says, and say, I do this well. I can sell well. So I would have had business, but I would have been that person that was like running hundreds of thousands of dollars through the business and being like, whoa, 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 I guess it's all good over there. Let's just keep going. So the Vin man, my husband, not so easy going with the money part, okay? And what happens is I learned from him from the very beginning, literally day one. This is how we do this, Lou. This is what happens when you go on a sale. When you come back from a sale, you do this. Okay, day 2. When you go on a sale, you do this. 3. When you go on a sale, good, LuAnn, you have to do this. Took me years to really, really do it the way it should be done. So no shame in it, right? This is the thing. I have to say, one of the things that I learn when I meet with you guys on a one-on-one basis is that I often will start a one-on-one coaching session, and often it'll be, you know, I'm really embarrassed to let you know how messed up the business side is. Or what'll happen is somebody will be in business 15, 20 years, and they'll say, I don't want you to think less of me because I don't really know how to do the business side of it. And that's what I'm trying to tell you. I know that if I didn't have his, I'm going to say it nicely, counsel, okay, didn't feel anything like counsel, I'm just going to tell you, okay, that I would have been in that same position. So the point of it is that we're talking about it now. We're bringing it to the industry. We're taking it from behind the curtain, and we're saying, you know what? I don't really like the 80% that's business, but you can't put your head in the sand. See, that's the part. The game is over. The party is, you know, that party is done. That party of I'm creative, Michelle Williams, she talks about in the book. Stop playing the song in your head. I'm creative, so I don't know how to do my numbers. Take the song out of your head. Okay? I love that line, Michelle, that you said in the book, because it's a crutch. It's a crutch. And it's time to throw the crutches away. It's time to look in the mirror. You are here. You have spent your time, your money. You're out of your businesses. You're not making money while you're here. So what is the point of investing $2,000 to come to High Point if you're not going to go home and figure out if you got $2,000 in the bank account? Okay? So the embarrassment is done because you just saw there's 6 people in the room that feel comfortable with the business side of it. I'd say it's pretty okay to be nervous about it, right? Okay? So what do you do, though? What do? You must seek out the people before you. You must accept the help. You must go and find the help. I love the podcast. I love the podcast because I love the people that come on and share their wins with us, their challenges with us, their vulnerabilities with us. I think it's awesome the way we learn from each other. And you hear me on the show. There's times that I know exactly what we're talking about, and I'm like, oh, yeah, we do that at Window Works. And then there's other times I'm like, wait, say what? How do you do that? You know, 37 years in business, and I'm still going to learn something every single conversation. I promise you that. Every single conversation. Okay? So, this book that we have put together, this is 12 of the people that have been on the show that have a superpower in their expertise, right? And they are coming together and they are sharing it with you and helping you, the conversation one step past the podcast, okay? So one of the things that I love about this journey that we've been on is it seems like, I don't know, do you feel like it just all of a sudden started like a few years ago, like have a brand? Like, who was here in business more than 10 years? Anybody say, do you have a brand before that to you? I don't know. I'm telling you they did not. They did not. No, they did not. Okay? But here's the really cool thing about it is, I learned from Kay Whitaker, who is one of the co-authors in the book. This is going back the first year. So going back, it'll be 3 years this summer that I learned this from her. I remember saying to her, and Kay didn't talk in the book about brand identity. I'm going to get to that in a second. But I remember saying to her, come on, what's a brand? What do we need a brand for? Like, isn't this just like mumbo jumbo? And the reality is the more that she talked about it, the more I was like, we have a brand at WindowWorks. I just didn't know it. I didn't know it. And you know what's interesting is when she expressed to me what a brand was and why it was important, and in the conversation, literally, I don't know if you heard that episode, you hear my light bulb go off. I'm like, you know what? We do. And the cool thing is from that moment, we've leaned into that brand. Our brand at WindowWorks is integrity and 110% customer service. That's our brand. It's not anything crazy. It's not anything like what I always say on the podcast. It's not the dunes and the palm trees that inspire your design. I promise you, that's not your brand. Your brand is the way you do something. Your brand is what are you known for. Your brand is what gets you up in the morning and what do your employees, I've got two of my employees right here with me, Kimberly and Carlos, what do they express to your clients? And that's when I realized, this is what we are doing. This is what we are known for. And the reason that I love learning about this, and now to the point in the book, Nicole Heimer is an expert on defining your brand. And I put this chapter first in the book because if you're struggling and you feeling a little tearing in your business, yes, we have to get to Michelle's chapter. I think she's chapter 2, the numbers. Maybe she's 3. I think Sarah's 2 Sarah's 2 with systems and Michelle is 3 with numbers. But it starts with who you are, what you will do, and what you won't do. How many people in the room feel like they know what their brand is? Okay, so you have some work to do. Yeah. But this is an important place to start. And again, it's exactly why I put it first in the book. Because what happens is when you start to figure out your brand, who it is. We've had on the show, I use Cheryl Janis as an example a lot. Who remembers Cheryl Janis's show? Oh, good. So I get to tell it to you, and you're not like, oh, my God, telling me the same story. Okay, so Cheryl Janis was on the show in the very beginning, first 15 or so episodes probably. She is an interior designer, the West Coast, and Cheryl had 2 or 3 occasions in her life where she was in a very serious physical. One was a very bad car accident. There was another occasion in her life. But for two separate times over the course of her life, she had to spend multiple weeks through surgeries or rehabs and this and that and the other thing. And as an interior designer, she was noticing how, she comes in feeling like crap. She's, been banged up. She's trying to get her body back, her mind back, her soul back, her mojo back. And every doctor's appointment and rehab place she goes to is like the most dismal, gross place on the planet. And she starts to notice how this doesn't help. This is like making me worse. And so she kept ruminating, and it was years later that she came back to it, but she was always ruminating on, I'd love to specialize in wellness design. But she was scared to death to put the stake in the ground and say, I am only going to do boutique hotels and wellness design. She was afraid. She was afraid. What about all the other clients she leaves behind? But she did it. And in the 3 years since she's done it, she's got a book, she's got a podcast, she has huge business, pipeline full, okay? So the brand comes from something personal to you. And that's how it came to her. Now, our brand, integrity, how did it come to us? My father-in-law, he's passed, he was born in 1912. So he was, the greatest generation of the world, right? So he was the World War II generation. Italian, firstborn in America. Parents, spoke Italian. Like, picture a Godfather mentality without being a gangster, okay? Because he was not a gangster. But that old school guy, okay? By the time I met my father-in-law, he was already in his 70s, and he was a bear. He was just this bigger-than-life person. And my husband would tell me how calm he was. I was like, whoa, that's calm, woo, right? But one day, I was at the, you go for Sunday gravy, right? It's Sunday, you show up and you have pasta and gravy. And so I was only married, I don't know how many months, whatever it was. But we're sitting there at the table. Sunday afternoon, he comes in. My brother-in-law is there, myself and my husband and my mother-in-law. And he comes in, and he's talking about something, and he just said, this one problem at work was bothering him. And, we're talking about it. What's the problem? Well, it's going to cost me a lot of money, and, it's like another $5,000 on this project, and, now there goes my net profit on the project, and blah, blah, blah. And my brother-in-law looks at him, and he says, well, Dad, why don't you just tell the lady you can't do it? He just turned around and looked at me and goes, what? He goes, well, the carpenter made the problem, and now, just tell him it's not your fault. You can't do it. He just looks at him, he goes, son, my name's Tony Nigara. I told that lady that this was the price, and this is what I was going to do. And it doesn't matter who said what, who did what other trade screwed up. I'm going to do what I'm going to do. He said, my name means something to me. It better mean something to you. And I was like, oh, I'm a Nigara. Oh my God, I'm one of these people. I was like 23, 4 years old. I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. I have goosebumps all over right now. And I just said, that's how WindowWorks is going to be. WindowWorks is going to do what they say they're going to do no matter what it takes. WindowWorks is going to be this person, this business, this entity that has a reputation. And that became our identity. But like in 1986, I didn't know that's what's called a brand. Okay? So the thing is, don't look far and wide. Look for something inside. Look for something that you do. And if you don't know what it is, take a look at Nicole's chapter. She says in the chapter, sit down, get a glass of wine, and have a date with yourself and your brand. Figure out who you are, okay? Because you lean in then, and you attract and you draw more people to you, okay? So you got to start there. So for everybody in the room that doesn't have it, because like I said, even though by the time I met Kay, we were some 30-some years in business, then it started to become what we talked more and more. We used to express it. We used to live it. We used to sort of make our decisions. My husband and I always made our decisions when we led our team based on this integrity that my father-in-law instilled in us. But then we started to say the words to the rock stars that work for us. This is what WindowWorks does. This is what we do. And now, if anybody was at LuAnn Nigara Live last weekend in New Jersey, my goodness, they worked 17-hour days because they know that's what we do. We deliver. We do anything we can not to let our customers down. Okay? All right. So from there, you've got to get involved in your systems. How many people have an amazing process from soup to nuts to do their job? People are killing me. You're killing me. You see, you all listen to the show, but you don't do it. Like, see, this is what I'm talking about. You got to take action. It's hard, right? It's hard. It's hard. It's hard. I know it's hard. You got to do it. You have to do, I can't even pass, collect go, pass go. If you don't have a system, we can't go anywhere. We can't get you where you want to go without a system, okay? So what do you got to do? Sarah's chapter breaks it down. You got to read Sarah's chapter. I'm sorry. You're just gonna, this is a hard one, and you're just going to have to do it. You have to sit down and make the time. My suggestion is, first of all, you do have systems, right? You do have a way that you do certain things. But here's what I always say. If you're the only person in the building that knows the system, guess what? You don't have a business. You have a you. Right? You have a you. You have a Sally, you have a Susie, you have a Nancy. You have a you. Because a business is a duplicatable system. A business is something that you can hand to somebody and say, you know what, I'm going to Bermuda for the month. Would you like follow this book and get this shit done? Whoops, sorry. See, there's no editing in real life, is there? So, what my recommendation is, you must, here's the thing. Okay, how many people are in business under 5? Okay. How many people are in business over 20? Yes. Okay. How many people want to be in business 25, 30, 40 years? Okay, then you got to lock it down, people. I'm sorry. See, this is where like crazy LuAnn comes out. You should have seen me last week at LuAnn Nigara. I was screaming and yelling and carrying on, okay? Because there's certain topics that make me nuts. So you have a desire. Here's what's happening right now. You all said, I want to be in business 25 or 30 years. But very few of you were able to say, I have a system, right? You know what this is like? This is like, I love chocolate chip cookies, but I don't want to be chubby. You have to stop eating the chocolate chips if you don't want to be chubby. It's not rocket science. Same with the business. If you want to be in business 10, 20, 30, 40 years, and by the way, let's clarify that, it's quite possible to be in business 25 years, but who wants to be making money all those years? Hello, right? I have to say, when I wrote the first book, The Making of a Well-Designed Business, this first book is Business 101. So if you're sitting here and you don't have a system and you don't have this, it's an hour. It takes you an hour to read the darn book. It's not like this big, crazy pants thing. It is literally just start here, go here, go here. And when you do anything, the same when you think about your brand and you think about your marketing and you think about what you're doing to attract people into your pipeline, what are you supposed to do? Anybody understand? Anybody know? You're supposed to think of one person. You think about your ideal client. Claire, thank you. Oh, okay. Claire's getting the credit. You think about your ideal client, right? That one person. You speak to that one person. So like Cheryl Janis, she speaks to that healthcare practitioner that gets that part of attracting and having their clients for their rehab and for all of their wellness. That person wants to feel well in their environment too. So she talks to just healthcare practitioners, and she draws them to her like the Pied Piper, okay? So when I wrote the book, the first book, I actually spoke to 2 people. I would write it from the standpoint of one, and then I wrote it from the standpoint of the second person. And then I found out that their needs are exactly the same. So here's where they are. The first person is the newbie in business, my baby designer. Not really sure what's going on, pretty scared to death, pretty sure that loves to design, pretty sure she's got that 20% down, but the 80%, no clue. I don't even know what to do. I don't even know how to start. Like, I didn't get an accountant yet. I didn't form an entity yet. Like, total basic, right? The second person was the person who has been in business 10, 15, 20 years and does what I do, what I call money laundering. We just take money over here, we put it over here, we put it back over here, but none of it stays right here. Collect 100, spend 105. Collect 80, spend 78. It's a crap show. You have no idea what's going on, right? I'm going to tell you what, you could stay in business your entire life doing it. I know people who have. Because here's the thing, that was the other person I was picturing when I was writing the book. That person is in pain. That person ends every week dejected, sad, frustrated. That person almost always does something really, really good in their business. They're probably, how many know the book, The E-Myth? Okay, that's homework. Buy my book, buy E-Myth. That's homework. In the E-Myth book, Michael Gerber talks about the technician, the manager, and the entrepreneur. The technician is where most people who own a business fall into. The technician is, in your business, the designer. And how many times have you known somebody or been this person that, has worked as somebody's senior or junior for a gabillion years, and it's like, I'm the one that's doing all the work here. I'm the one that's got all the designs, and I'm the one that's, it's fabulous, and that person's getting all the credit. I'm going to open up my own design firm. Because now, I just had this the other day. I was talking to a kid at LuAnn Nigara Live, and she said, it's time to go out. I'm really the one that's doing all the hard work and this and that. And I'm like, sweetie, no. If you think that the 80% of the time that you spend designing is the hard work, you're out of your cotton picking mind. The hard work is showing up with your name on the door. The hard work is paying the tax man, right? So the thing is that I know entrepreneurs that have been in business 15 and 20 years, and because they are so exceptional at their business, the trade of their business, whether it's a wallpaper hanger, it's an interior designer, it's, a candlestick maker. If you're the best candlestick maker under the planet and you're not making money, you tend to blame everybody but you. It's the economy, it's the area. Nobody wants candlesticks anymore. It's not that. It's not that. You're not locking down the business side of it. And so it's very painful. So that's how this book rolls, okay? This book rolls with, locking it down, getting it systemized, getting your business. And the thing is, in my opinion, if you're in business 10, 15 years and you're not making money, there's one of these basic steps that you missed. You got to go back and address it. The second book digs deeper into these lessons, into what you need to do. So for everybody that raised their hand and does not have their business systemized, there might be 3 people in the room that are going to do this. You need to put it on your calendar. Like I got to get my hair dyed every 5 weeks or I look pretty scary. Would I miss that? Well, sometimes I do. But mostly I do not miss that. So is getting my hair dyed more important than my livelihood? So you need to make an appointment with yourself, standing appointment. I don't care what it is, honestly. Depending on how busy or not busy your business is, if you really don't have anybody in the pipeline, make an appointment every day for the next 5 weeks. But if you're busy, because a lot of people are busy, they are doing the money laundering thing, right? They're bringing it all in and they're putting it all out. They don't know what's happening in the middle and where it's going and all that other stuff. Then you've got to put the time aside. I don't care if it's every Thursday from 2 o'clock to 5 o'clock. I don't care if it's one Thursday a month from 2 o'clock to 5 o'clock. I don't care if it's Saturday night at 3 o'clock in the morning at 6 a.m. I don't care when it is. But you need a standing appointment with yourself to get it locked down. And you start. You just start with, all right, what do I do when somebody calls my business? What do I do? Do I get their name, address, email? Do I ask them the budget? Do I ask how they heard about me? Do I ask if they've worked with another designer before? Do I have a welcome packet? What's in the welcome packet? You see, we just went from boom to boom. This is like this domino game. It's a quagmire. But you got to slice it up, address it. And here's the cool thing if you set a time frame. If you set a time frame of an hour and a half, Darcy Heather did this on the show, shared this on the show, I should say. She heard how you needed to get your whole thing systemized. And she heard my suggestion for time blocking. And so she did it. And then she emailed me, and she's like, you're not going to believe it. I actually did it. I did it. She goes, every, Tuesday from 9 o'clock to 10:30, I'm working on my manual, my this, my that, blah, 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 blah. I have my assistant every Tuesday from 9 o'clock to 10:30 doing it X, Y, Z. And she said, and the thing is, at 10:30, if I'm in the middle of a sentence, I close it up. Because if you recognize that we're all going to be here in October, right? Or you're going to come back next year. If you recognize the time is going to pass one way or another, then it's okay to leave it partially done. It's okay not to be like, oh my God, I can't stop now. I got to keep going. I got to cancel my appointments. I'm going to be late. Just get up and know that you're going to do it the next week. Because what will happen is in 6 months, you'll have a manual. You'll have a system. Okay? Does it seem doable? How many think they're going to do it? Rock stars. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. All right. So as you go through the book, of course, we have lots of other chapters. We have Michelle Williams who's talking about planning to profit. Huge concept. How many people are familiar with Profit First? Yeah. The rest of you, figure it out. Learn it. Google it. Download the book on your way back home. Michelle Williams is a certified Profit First professional. What the concept of Profit First is that guess what? Who gets paid? How many of you get a salary every single week, automatic deposit to your account? My God. All right, I'm really. So what happens? You pay yourself when? Somebody tell me. Somebody that does not have an automatic salary, what happens? How do you get money? Oh, okay, so you get it every other week. I could take that as an answer. How many people get a paycheck every other week? Technical, really? Okay, do this. How many people don't receive an actual reoccurring paycheck from their business? Don't be shy. It's crazy pants now. You may as well come clean. Okay, so what is the deal with that? Are you working for free? The answer to that is yes, I'm working for free. Is it a hobby? No. Okay, so you're not getting paid, but it's not a hobby. Does that strike anybody as a little crazy? All right, I'm really sad right now. Do you pay yourself? Thank you. Do you pay yourself? Yes. Okay. Guys, I don't care if you give yourself $50 a damn week. I really don't. Would anybody work for you for free? How about this? How many of us have a kid in the room that is 18 or over? Okay. So your kid comes home and says, I have the most amazing job on the planet, Mom. It's so cool. I get to do what I love every single day. I love it. I'm excited. It's amazing. How much are they going to pay you? No money. No money. And you're like, boy, you're not living on my dime. You got to move out. How are you going to move out with no paycheck? So what's happening? Do we have a spouse that is supporting us? How is it happening? Or do we just write a check when we're out of money at home? I'm actually curious, how is it happening? Here's one thing about paying yourself first. You got to read her chapter, first of all. And I think you probably have to hire her, second of all, I'm just going to say. But here's the thing about paying yourself first. All the feel-good stuff that Michelle talks about and all the feel-good stuff that Michelle teaches you. But here's what I think about it. If I get up on Monday morning, because I do get up on Monday morning, you don't want to know what my payroll is at WindowWorks. Here's WindowWorks' break-even number. I'm going to share it with you. Anybody, okay, let's do this. I have a staff of 10. I have a building. I've got 4 or 5 trucks. What do you think my break-even number is every month? How much? $200,000. It's more than that now, Kimberly? It's 220, isn't it? Yeah, okay. Before we make $1, that's how much we have to sell every month. So I'm part of that, though. You see, it's not, 230 or 220, and then when we pay that, then I get a paycheck. No. That's how much we have to do every month to get paid. And here's what happens. Because even if I were a solo and I said, I'm paying myself a lousy $100 a day, I'm going to make $500 a week. What happens when you get up on Monday morning? When you know there's an automatic debit coming out on Friday? You think Monday's a little different? You think you say, oh, a great day, it's spring, let me go for a run. Hell no. Hell no. I got money coming out of the bank on Friday. I got to get me an appointment. There's nothing in the calendar this week. I got to find one. So that's why I like to get paid. I like to get paid because I like to get paid. But that's why I like it that you plan to pay yourself, because I think it gives you direction. I think it makes you accountable. I think you can't say to your girlfriend, that'd be swell to go to the mall today. I have no appointments. Right? I have to tell you, this is so funny. In March, I was out of town probably 8 or 9 business days. I had one trip in Nashville, an 8-day trip. I had 7 speaking engagements. One was a 9-hour sales course that I taught. Another was a 3-hour sales course. And then there were other things on top of it. Come back, home a minute and a half, we'd run right into LuAnn Nigara Live. I'm on stage for LuAnn Nigara Live. In 3 days, I think we counted it up, it was like, 19 or 20 hours. It was insanity. We get done on Tuesday, right? We're done on Monday. The thing is over at 1. I'm still talking to Michelle at the hotel till 6 o'clock at night. Meet my family for dinner, big celebration. Yay, we did a good job, right? Get home at like 10:30 that night. Next day, I must have had at least 3 or 4 people text me, email me, smoke signal me, say, when you get up today, give me a call at like 10:30 in the morning. I'm like, you kidding me? Nigara got me up at 7 o'clock, just like normal. We hit the ground running because guess what? All fun and games, but that debit was coming out on Friday. He's like, now you've been out of here for a week. Go sell something. It's self-imposed pressure, right? What leads into that? What leads into that is charging what you're worth. Nancy Ganzikow, first chapter. How many people here feel like their hourly rate is what they're worth? Come a little bit, maybe, not quite sure. Okay, some of you do. So for everybody that did not raise their hand or isn't sure, is there some design police that's preventing you from raising your rate? I want to know. If you all raised your hand and said, yes, I'm charging what I'm worth, great. I don't really care if you're 85 and you're 450. If you're saying I'm worth that, all day long. But here is a big, big, big tip. Just raise your rate. There's no design police. I have never, ever, ever, ever counseled someone to raise their rate, and they did it, and they called me a week later and told me, you are the biggest jerk on the planet. What stops you from raising your rate? What are you afraid of? Not getting the right client. Okay, so now that sounds backwards to me. It seems to me that the ideal is to always get the next level client. Yes, no? The client that has less concern, right? You also what? Oh no, rich people are nice. Money doesn't make people ugly. When your mama doesn't raise you right, that's how you're an ugly person. No, I promise you. I promise you. There are people that are poor and people who are rich that are jerks. It's all over the place. No, sweetie, don't worry about that. Okay? Now, here's what happens the more you charge. The better you have to be. The more you have to do what you said you're going to do. There's no, well, I said Tuesday, but Tuesday's Friday, right? No. When I'm paying hard-earned dollar bills, I want it when I want it. Okay? But the thing is, I've used this analogy on the podcast 1,000 times. We shop in price ranges. When you go buy a car, you shop in a price range, don't you? When you go buy a house, you shop in a price range. When you buy makeup, you shop at a price range. You have an expected idea of what something will cost, and you go to that price range. So if you are going to go buy a house and you can afford, $1 million house, what are you going to say to your realtor? Show me everything from 800 to 1.2. Your realtor doesn't walk you down the road and show you the $300,000 house that needs 9 billion years of work to it. It's such a great deal. They don't. So people are shopping you in price ranges. So depending on what your range is, that's who you're calling. That's who you're calling. And I have to say, it seems to me, all the designers I've spoken to, the lower end market is so much harder. It's so much harder because they're like talking to you one day and then they're looking at Wayfair the next minute. Like, yeah, I can get it here. Go get it. That's why it's retail. Go get it. It's not, rocket science. Yes, it's there for you to click and buy. Click and buy the damn thing. Stop bothering me. Right? Up here, even though I know Wayfair is there, I don't want to click and buy it. I don't want to find it. I don't want to find it. I want you to say, LuAnn, this is the desk for this room. Thank you, Miss Expert. Because when you deal with the higher end clientele, they recognize your expertise. That's why they're calling you. There's no big secret. They know they're paying more to get you. The point is, you have to get out of your head that you're here to save them money. That's not your job. Your job, there's nothing in your job description. Interior designer, or floor planner, or color maven, blah, 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 save money person. It's not part of the job description. When a person gets to a point in their life and they've got a couple of dollar bills and they want their home or their office or their environment well designed and they reach out for an expert, it's because they want your expertise. And they know that the expertise is a separate price from the physical piece of wood that's getting delivered to their house in the form of a desk, a chair, an ottoman, or a table. Do you get that distinction? You are not selling commodities. You are selling your intellect. You are selling your process. And here's the thing about this. This is why it starts with your brand. Who is your ideal client? This is why it goes to your system. How do you do it? This is why it goes to managing your money. Because once we get you set up to be profitable, we want to make sure you know how to do it. Okay? This is the order of things. But once you get there, you're not look, go buy all the furniture under the planet. That's the side thing. And make money on it, please. okay? But what you're really selling is what you're bringing to the table. Because I got news for you. I could walk this market until I had little nubbies for feet, okay? I can't pick a desk. I need a bar for my house. Guess who's picking it? Kimberly. My kid needs a desk for her. Guess who's picking it? Kimberly. I don't even want to look at the crap. I don't even want to look at it. Just tell me which one, this one or this one. That's what you do. That's your magic. You know which one. And I'm happy to pay you for it. Okay? So raise your rates. I'm honest to God, every single one of you, if you are charging under $100 an hour, you absolutely are raising your rates $25. I want you to go to your website before you even get home, if it's on your website, and change it. If it's not on your website, change it in your brain. If you are under $100 an hour, put 25 on. If you're between 100 and 200, put 50 on. If you're 200 to 300, put 75 on. Watch your world change. I had a coaching client one time say to me, oh, no, I can't do that, LuAnn. She was at 100, I think, 35. Oh, I said, you got to go to 195, babe. This is where we're at. I'm looking at your website. I'm looking at your Instagram. Your work is outrageous. You got your systems down. You're all locked down. You're going to 195. Oh, no, I can't do it. Met her a couple weeks later. Like, did you raise your rate? No, you see, I'm really afraid that my phone won't ring. And I said, so how's it going for you? Is your phone ringing? Well, yeah, of course. You know, I've got my clients and everything, but it's really hard because I keep showing them the higher-end sources, and they just keep telling me that it's too expensive. Right. Because you're working with the people down here. But your design and your ideas are up here. Guess where we are? We're up here. The people who spend money on that stuff is up here. If I were ever going to hire an interior designer, and I went to 3 designers' websites, and one was 85, one was 175, and one was 275, I'm not saving money with the $85 one. I'm thinking she doesn't know what she's doing. Right? Now, I'm 30 years old. Maybe I don't have enough money at this point. I'm still building. Now I might be like, 85, 145, right? Okay? But what happens? Who's the person that's going to consider the 85? The person that doesn't have as much money, the person that's like needing a little bit of bargain, the person that kind of understands that they want a designer, but, you know, can I pay you for this and I can do this on my own? That's your client down there. Okay? Now, if you do not have it locked down, you can't just go there and put 275. Because if I come out to you, if I come over to you and I hire you at 275, I'm expecting it to be flipping awesome. And I'm not talking about the design. I'm talking about the process. If I have to remind you, if I have to call you, if I have to do all that stuff, I just did it with the event, right? I wanted to do a proper event planner. And here's the funny thing. This is a good example because every one of us has priorities for different things in our lives. So you can have a client who can afford luxury design and luxury prices, but still will walk into, Target to buy something because we put value on different parts of what comes through our life. So just because, there's certain things in my life, I don't have a Louis Vuitton bag. I'm never going to have one. I have no desire for one, right? Could I have one? I could have one. Do I want one? I have no value for it. No place, no value. No judgments on all of you that had one. It's not my thing. So the point is that we all place value on all different things. And one day I'm a Target client and one day I'm a Blooming's client, depending on what I'm buying. But when I went to do LuAnn Nigara Live, I wanted an event planner because that would have been awesome. But, the good ones were 20 grand. I'm like, not this year, not this year. And so then I came across, by accident, somebody that was an event planner. And she was a hustler. Not hustler in a bad way, but a go-getter. I was like, oh, yeah, this is great. But here's what's interesting is, this I should have known. I did know, but I was my back against the wall. When I first started talking to her, her price to run the event was $9,800. Less than half of what a real event planner should be. Red flag. Right? I have the red flag. It's not I don't have it. I'm like, nah. And I said to myself, I rationalized. I said, well, here's the thing. Me, Kim, Christy, Adriana, we're going to do the whole damn thing. Or this kid over here that isn't really a true professional, even though she thinks she is, which is less than half the price, if she does half the things, I'm good. But here's the other thing that happened. Do you know what I actually got her price down to from $9,800? $3,500. You see, there's two things I'm really good at. One is selling you, and the other is negotiating with you. $3,500, and at about 4 weeks into the process, what was really kind of funny was I was in Nashville, and she started to go off the rails. Oh my God, this isn't done, and you this, and you this, and you that, and I've given you this to approve, and you haven't approved it, and you changed this, and you changed that, and you didn't approve this, and I was like watching these emails go back and forth, and I'm like in a 6-hour sales training, and I'm like, and so finally my assistant calls me up at the end of the day, and she's like, is she off her meds? Like, what is going on with this woman, right? So I said to her, I said, no, it's time for me to slap her back. Don't address it. 2 hours it took me to write the email to this woman, to explain to her how crazy she was without using the word crazy. And I got another $750 off the bill. So here's the thing. When you are not quality, everybody knows it. So don't ever say, LuAnn said to raise my rates $100 if you're not locked down. What I'm saying is, if you're 85 or 100, you can go to 125 right now without changing a thing. You can. Because if somebody's going to pay 85, they're going to pay 125. They are. That's how it is. That's the range that they're in. I'm looking for a designer between 75 and 125. Oh, my God, yeah, looks really good. All right, I'll do that one. Okay? So we get the distinction of where I'm saying the raise, what you have to do and how you have to do it, but the fact that you actually can raise your rate. All righty. I mean, I really could do this for another hour, but we're supposed to sign books and all that stuff if you want to. I have some of my co-authors here. I have Sarah, I have Michelle, I have Nancy here. That's it, right? Sarah, Michelle, and Nancy. Guys, thank you for listening. I appreciate it so much.